Today we're going to deep dive into Meghan and Prince Harry's relationship. Now, this is a couple that I am truly invested in, and not just because Oprah told me to be, but because they are astrologically perfect. Their charts are unbelievable. They are so cosmically connected, it's crazy, it's powerful, it's magical. Let's get into it. I have never seen anything like this. It gives me all types of feels, mostly emotional ones, mostly makes me want to cry. Meghan! First, let's take a look at Meghan's chart. So, Meghan was born August 4th, 1981, 4:46 a.m. in Canoga Park, California. Let's start with her big three. Meghan is a Leo sun, Cancer rising, and Libra moon. The Cancer rising shows us that she cares deeply, that she yearns to feel protected and stable, and she has a deep connection to the moon. She also has this natural maternal energy, and this concept of feeling nurtured is paramount for her. Protection is what her rising sign needs, and her sun is what gives that to her. The sun sign shows how you radiate, how you make an impression on people, and how you express yourself to the public. Meghan's sun sign is Leo, so she's a natural performer. She needs warmth and hospitality to feel safe and protected. Her sun sign allows that protection through her performance. Meghan also has a moon in Libra. She is fair and balanced, and she does not stand injustice. It is very destabilizing for her. Ultimately, we see Meghan Markle as an entertainer, but the truth is her entertaining is a way for her to create safety and security in a very chaotic world. And then we have Prince Harry. Born on September 15th, 1984 at 4:20 p.m. Oh no, did I my eyelash because I winked at you? I winked and I kind of like Lucille Bluethed myself. In Paddington, England. Harry is a Virgo sun, Capricorn rising, Taurus moon. We love a triple earth sign king. His life was set. He has a grand earth trine in his chart, and his chart values stability. He was fine. He was operating under the status quo. But there are lots of missing links in his chart. There are some parts of his chart that were inaccessible to him. Things like deep emotional experience, the meaning of his life, casual. Those questions have been unanswerable until Meghan came along. The introduction of Meghan in his life opened his eyes. Because Meghan comes from such a different background, he started to see the world from a different point of view. This exposed his chart to a different perspective. During the Oprah interview, Oprah asked, "Would you have left if it wasn't for Meghan?" He said no, and his chart validates that. He didn't have the perspective to access the full scope of his potential without Meghan. And to reiterate, Prince Harry's big three are all in earth signs. He is stable, he is grounded, he values security, he appreciates structure. He would never want to make things difficult for his family. He was not trying to make waves for publicity's sake. So it was extremely meaningful for him to make the decision to step away from his family. But what he found out through Meghan is that the infrastructure that he put his trust in his whole life was actually broken. The system was broken, and he did not know that until Meghan. And let's not forget that Meghan has a Libra moon and she doesn't stand injustice, so Meghan actually represents his mother's side of the story. Eerie, scary, how so? Tell me more. Princess Diana was born July 1st, 1961 at 7:45 p.m. in Sandringham, England, and I think that would sound better in a British accent. Princess Diana was a Cancer sun, Aquarius moon, and Sagittarius rising. So even though she has this lovely, gentle Cancer sun, that is not the whole story. She is a natural rebel. Between her fiery Sag rising and her innovative Aquarius moon, she is a truth teller. You may recall that Prince Harry is a Capricorn rising. Capricorn is the opposite of Cancer, so his mom's sun sign in Cancer activates the area of his chart that represents partnership, meaning his relationships are portals into understanding his mother. And hot take, what I find extremely interesting, scandalous, is that Meghan's Mars in her 12th house at 11 degrees represents where she finds her motivation and where she feels compelled to take action. The 12th house is the area of the chart associated with the subconscious, including hidden enemies. Even when you're your own hidden enemy. Wow, what a tongue twister. That placement is the exact same point of Princess Diana's sun. So this means that Harry's chart is activated in the descendant, the area of the chart associated with partnership, at 11 degrees Cancer, which is both Meghan's hidden enemies as well as his mother's hidden enemies. For this family, the concept of security is literal. We are literally talking about security, not an abstract idea. We're talking about having security protect you, protect your safety. And when Meghan was also experiencing that same lack of security, Prince Harry was able to see once and for all what really happened to his mother. This is more than just an abstract threat. This is a true sense of danger that Meghan was exposed to that gave Prince Harry insight as to what his mom was dealing with within the same infrastructure, within the same family unit. So through Meghan, he was able to understand what happened to his mother from a completely different point of view than what he had been fed, what he had access to, and the way that her story had been positioned as he was growing up. So he actually, through Meghan, has been able to cultivate a really meaningful relationship with his mom, even though she is no longer Earthside. There is a correlation between the areas of life where Meghan feels motivated and challenged and the way that we perceive Princess Diana publicly. There is a fusion between Meghan and Diana's charts. They inform each other. Meghan's chart is very, very connected to Princess Diana's. There is a lot of healing in this relationship. Sure, it's creatively fulfilling as well, but theirs is a relationship for healing, for soul work, for going deeper into self and truth and purpose. And there's a reason that they're so compatible. It's because they're both willing to do that work. They were both waiting for someone to help them and see them and validate them, and that's what makes these two charts so important together. Meghan's chart activates the area of Prince Harry's chart associated with partnership, and this is no doubt an intense relationship, but they are constantly healing each other. Meghan exposed Harry to the falsehoods of his life while also simultaneously extracting a more nuanced understanding of his mother, both in her life and death, which enabled Harry to connect with his lineage on a deeper level. It's more profound. The root of their relationship is safety and security, but through healing and very, very honest, authentic work that deviates from the status quo. Their charts go beyond compatibility. They are redefining legacy. I mean, is it free will? Is it destiny? I do not know. So now I am going to answer all of your burning astrology questions. Some of you love sliding into my DMs, and even though I really appreciate it, I have a better solution. If you have a question, comment below and I will read it, and I may be able to answer it on the next episode. So ask away. Well, if I hear someone casually saying that they're a cusp, I am not going to be an asshole. I am not going to cut them off and say, no, cusps don't exist. I'm going to let that person identify as a cusp. But if they ask me, I will explain to them how it works. But I know they're wrong, is So cusps, the way that most people refer to them, which is being born between two signs, it's totally bull. Cusps are not a thing in astrology. Your astrological chart is a 360-degree wheel. It is a circle, and around that circle are all 12 zodiac signs. So each zodiac sign actually has 30 degrees. It goes from 0 to 29. So if you happen to be born on the day that the sun moves from one sign to another, it's going to come down to your time of birth. But you are not between them. The sun is either in one or the other. Compatibility is complicated. It is not as simple as sun-on-sun action. We have to consider the entire birth chart. Beyond that, we have to consider two birth charts, really. We have to consider how person A feels about person B, how person B feels about person A, and make sure that the relationship isn't necessarily the same, but it's at least mutually supportive and that there's a lot of reciprocity. Because one relationship could be super empowering for one person and then also really destabilizing for the other. So when we're thinking about compatibility, we always have to think, how does each person feel in this dynamic? However, I will tell you my favorite compatibility signature in a chart, which is Venus moon activation. So if your moon sign is their Venus, or if their moon is your Venus, that is beautiful. So Saturn represents rules, responsibilities, lessons, the patriarchy, your relationship with your father, how you become your own father. And it takes Saturn approximately 30 years to create a full cycle, to finish its cycle. So every 29 to 30 years, you experience your Saturn return, which is when you double down on your responsibilities, on the roles that you have, and you identify self relative to your outside circumstance. So around the first Saturn return is when we really see somebody becoming themselves and separating often from where they came from and identifying who they are independently from their parents, their teachers, their societal expectations. It's a pretty big glow up. There are a few other things that I want to point out. One is that Princess Diana has her Saturn at 27 degrees Capricorn, which meant that last year in 2020, she was actually experiencing her second Saturn return. What makes this really, really interesting is that this is exactly at the same time that Prince Harry and Meghan decided to step away from the family. Whew, chilling. Yeah, Godspeed. Be well. My blessings are with you. Do you have blessings for them? Yes. Your rising, also known as your ascendant, is the zodiac sign coming up in the eastern horizon at the exact moment of your birth. This is such an important placement because it creates the architecture for your entire birth chart, and it also shows the recurring themes that you experience over the course of your life, as well as your planetary ruler. So in the case, for instance, of Meghan Markle, we talked about her relationship with the moon because Cancer is her rising sign, and Cancer and the moon are a team. Your moon represents your emotional inner world. It shows what's going on behind the scenes. It shows how you feel about your life, how you feel about your reality, and it gives a lot of dimensionality and a lot of perspective to what your internal narrative looks like and how that might differ from your external narrative. Your sun shows the position of the sun at the exact time that you were born. It is such an important piece of your birth chart, but it is only one piece of a much larger puzzle. Your sun sign really shows the way that you externalize, the way that you radiate, the way that you like to take up space, the way that you like to shine, what makes you happy. All solar things relating to you, your day-to-day life, and the way that you interact with your everyday experiences. So your big three is your sun, moon, and rising. You need to have your exact time of birth in order to calculate your big three. So this is my PSA. If you are listening to this and you do not know your time of birth, please get your birth certificate or text your mom. The birth chart is the snapshot of the sky at the exact moment you were born. It contains everything. It is a template to your personality. You're going to get your timing from it. You're going to see how things show up in your life, the recurring themes. It's basically the diagram that astrologers use to determine everything. It's a very, very important piece of information. So your descendant is the opposite of your ascendant, which is also the rising sign. So it is what was setting on the western horizon at the moment that you were born. Your descendant is associated with the way that you perceive others and the way others perceive you. Food for thought. That is all, my astro detectives. Which celebrity should we investigate next? Comment below and keep your eye on the stars. Bye! Let me know when I should begin this mouth journey. You know, that's what they call it.